Hello and welcome to Shep Rambles, where I am Shep and I tend to ramble about what? Anything and everything. And Happy New Year. With a new year comes a new season of Shep Rambles. So this is season 2, episode 1, and I wanted to do something a little special for that, something a little personal that I have been doing on this channel, and that happens to be Flight Simulator. On this channel, you may have noticed, if you happen to be browsing through videos on this channel, there is an awful lot of Flight Simulator videos. You might be wondering, what in the world are you doing? Well, I am doing a world tour, a tour around the world, and it's something that I've done before with like Microsoft Flight Simulator 5. I've done it with 98. I've done it with 2004. But there are other simulators in which I hadn't gone all the way around the world with. And then other ones, such as Flight Simulator 2 for the Commodore 64, which I've gone from coast to coast, which I haven't done like since it was out, like back in 85 or so. I mean, a long time. And then I've got the later simulators, where FSX, Flight Simulator 10, is not new. It's old, but it's the last version of Microsoft Flight Simulator that was released. It's still supported. There are still developers making planes and scenery for it. And that one I have not gone all the way around the world with. And then there's X-Plane from Laminar Research, which I just recently got last year. After years of debating on whether I wanted to get it, it finally got to a point where I was like, yeah, I think I'll go ahead and get that. And when I started messing around with the ortho photos, which is photorealistic textures, satellite imagery that you can actually download and put into the simulator, that and then the 3D buildings and stuff that go on top of it, it looks amazing. It's not perfect, but it looks amazing. And I definitely wanted to do a world tour with that. And so everything started to come together. There have been 2 documentaries that I've done for Shep Rambles. One was in Jerome, Arizona, and another one was about a restaurant that's also in Jerome. And I've got footage that I've not put together yet for a documentary on Sedona. So hopefully I'll get to that one. I've been really busy with this flight sim project. But I've been wanting to do like a travel documentary series, but I don't have the money or the funds to be able to do something like that in real life. I suppose I could go to Patreon or something and see if anyone wants to help fund that, because I would love to do it, but it'd be way too expensive. So anyhow, I'm going about it the next best possible way that I can do, and that's using my video and filming skills and using Flight Simulator. And so the idea behind the series is they all start at the same location, which is at Merrill C. Meigs Airport in Chicago, which no longer exists, but it's a iconic airfield for a lot of flight simmers, because that's where it started. You would start off at that airport, and so it's very iconic. And so I started the world tour from that airport, and I've not been doing these huge jumps like Chicago to Detroit to New York. I'm not making big jumps like that. I'm actually going through and hitting not every little airport, but going through the state and hitting, small airports, big airports. So like so far, I've gone from Chicago to DuPage to Aurora to Bolingbrook to Lansing, back up to Chicago, then to Joliet, which is one of the first stops on Route 66 out of Chicago, Kankakee, and Bloomington Normal. That's actually, it's called Bloomington Normal, but it's actually two cities that are right next to each other. And then Champaign-Urbana, same thing, two cities next to each other. Peoria, Illinois, the Quad Cities, which is Moline and Davenport, Rock Island, and I can't remember the fourth one. But two of those are in Iowa, and then crossing into Iowa. So there's all this where I'm going through and like actually exploring the states. And as we go forward, we'll be going through different states and up into Canada a little bit, and then we'll be hitting Greenland and Iceland and the islands above England, and coming down into England and Europe, and through the Middle East and down through Africa, back over to South America and up, and then over to Hawaii, Alaska, back around through Russia and Asia and Japan. I mean, this series is going to take a while. It's going to take anywhere from 5 to 10 years to do. And I'm doing it on all of the simulators. You may be asking, well, that's crazy. Why are you doing that? Well, I've never done a detailed world tour with any of the flight simulators like that before. And I want to be able to bring back some old fun memories that I've had with the old simulators, with Flight Simulator 5, with Flight Simulator 98, but make new memories. For example, Flight Simulator 4, I've never played it before. I've never actually played it until I started working on this series. The same thing goes with Flight Simulator 2002. I never played it until this series. The Commodore 64, can't really go around the world with it, but it's been so long since I actually traveled throughout the continental US. So, it's bringing back some really old fun memories. And then, with FSX, and then finally X-Plane, with X-Plane, I'm like, wow, this is what it really looks like to fly over these areas. But see, it's not only that. The documentary stuff that I was talking about before, I'm doing a documentary at the end of every flight on X-Plane about the place that we land, and then checking out what the airport really looks like in real life, a little bit of information about it, and then doing this virtual drive into town using Google Street View and putting it together into an animation, which takes time. But the result looks kind of cool. So doing this virtual drive into town where we check out some sites, check out things that make that town what it is. What's interesting in that town. Restaurants, food, museums, things like that. Another way to look at it is, if I were to actually fly there, what would I do? What would I go out and do? And it has been a great experience so far. I have learned some amazing things about places that I probably will never see in real life. And I go even one step further than that by looking up videos of people who actually have been to these places. So pilots who have actually flown into these airports or took off from the airports. Some of these restaurants or museums or sites, whatever, that people have actually taken videos of. So I add those links into the description field, so that way, you can enjoy the virtual flight, the virtual drive in the town, and the stuff that I do. But then you actually have links that you can click on to see the real thing that people have actually done by actually visiting these places. And so it's been amazing so far. And when I think about where this show is going to go, as far as the different states and the countries, and it just blows my mind on what I will possibly experience, what I could possibly experience and learn by the time this whole thing is done. So it's something really special to me. And they're not monetized. I do it for fun, and it's not something that I want to keep to myself. I want to share it, with all of you. I know that there are going to be some people out there that are going to be really fascinated by these videos. Maybe they don't have the time to do, a flight around the world with one of these flight simulators, or maybe there's an old one that they fondly remember, but just they want to bring back some of those old memories, but they don't have the time to do so, or the software, or whatever, to do it. Well, these flight sim series are for everyone to enjoy. I'm hoping that there's something there that everyone can like, whether it's all the flight sims or some specific ones. And I try to take these old flight simulators to another level and try to enhance them as much as they can be enhanced, like they were back when they were first released, with like air traffic control, or AI traffic, or scenery, things like that. I tried to enhance those old simulators, like Flight Simulator 5 or 98, or Flight Simulator 2000, so that way we can actually have a fun time with an old simulator, seeing what it was like when it first came out, and you had all these add-ons and stuff for it. Because back then there wasn't a YouTube, there was not Let's Play videos, there certainly wasn't recording software to do it how it is now. So that's going to be the fun part of this series, is reviving those old simulators and really doing something special with them. And you can see several of the stuff that I've collected so far. Like I've got these sceneries here from Apollo, for the Flight Simulator 5. It also works for Flight Simulator for Windows 95, which I've never played before. I've also got a couple of volumes of this, where it's Airport 2000. And so these are used with Flight Simulator 2000, as you would expect. Although this one here is Flight Simulator 98 compatible. For Flight Simulator 10, I've got this. This is ATC, voice recognition air traffic control. So you actually speak into the microphone, it recognizes what you're saying, and then it uses those text-to-voice softwares to, do the air traffic control.
November 13 Foxtrot, wind 190 at 5, cleared takeoff runway 12.
Clear takeoff runway 12, November 13 Foxtrot. Then I've got this here, ProFlight 98, which is air traffic control for Flight Simulator 98 in the form of an adventure using WAV files that are put together into sentences. And I've even gone as far as recording my own voice and putting it in here. So that way you can actually hear my voice as I'm talking to this simulated air traffic control, and it's giving me instructions.
Departure Cessna 13 Foxtrot out of 1,500 for 5,000. IFR.
Roger. Cessna 13 Foxtrot. Clear to spiral. Squawk 3061.
And then there's other stuff. I mean, I've got this real ATC chatter here that I use with Flight Simulator 5 and Flight Simulator 98. And I will replace the WAV files with actual WAV files of ATC chatter from those local airports that we're flying to, which gives it a whole realism, a realistic kind of edge to it.
Man, 603, runway 1 right, cleared for takeoff. Clear takeoff, 603.
I've also got a stack of these photo sceneries for Flight Simulator 2004 that we'll be making use of. There'll be some that we do reviews. So, I mean, there's a lot of stuff. And I will be getting to the Lockheed Martin Prepared Flight Simulator, which is based off of Flight Simulator 10. It's now 64-bit. So that is one that is eventually going to be added to my repertoire of the World Tour. And I try to do something a little different with each of these flight sims. So I don't try to use the same type of scenery, or I don't try to use the same type of air traffic control. I try to mix things up a bit and make each simulator its own little thing. They all do the same flight. They all go to the same airports and the same flight. So that way people can go and actually, compare their favorite flight from one town to another, one city to another, and just kind of see it on the different flight simulators, instead of just a general video of, oh, here's the history of Flight Simulator and how they, how they look. You can actually see these flights on my channel and then compare them with the other simulators just to see how it looked. But not only that, I have inherited, so to speak, a set of binders that has maps and approach charts. They're all from a former pilot who passed away, and I've been in contact with his daughter, and we've been working something out where I've been paying her, and I've been getting these binders, this collection that he's built, and he's got stuff all over the world. There must be like 55 binders covering all the states and all the countries. And that's what I have down here. So for example, this binder here is Western Europe #1, which includes Ireland and the United Kingdom. And it's all divided here. And there are little sim charts here, which you can see that there is a map Here is Ireland. And we flip it a little bit more. And now we've got maps of the actual airport, approach charts. So you kind of get the idea here. You know, here's some more right there. So I've got, and I don't have them all yet. We're still going through and doing shipping and stuff. But so far I've got a few of the states that I'm currently flying through. I've got Europe, I've got the Caribbeans, Western and Eastern Europe. I've got Canada, I've got Africa. I think I now have South America. So, yeah, I mean, there is so much. I even have a box over here of stuff that I haven't even opened up yet. Like here is South America, countries A through E. And so the timing of all of this couldn't have been more perfect with me doing this flight, this virtual flight around the world. And, you know, I can really, I mean, these binders have become a treasure. And all this work that this gentleman had put into all these binders will actually get some use, and it's just it's an honor, you know, to be able to make use of someone's collection that they spent so much time in to put together something very special, something special for me that I can share with all of you. But anyway, that's all I have right now for this rambling episode. I will go ahead and put some links in the description field of some playlists that you can check out. But you can also just, you know, browse around my channel. I have playlists for each of the flight simulators. So, you know, check those out, and there'll be more rambling videos to come. And like I said, they're on a variety of different topics. So some of them are about news things that I come across, or videos I come across, or just personal things that I happen to think about, or maybe something that I encounter while walking somewhere. I don't know. So anyway, thanks for joining me on this video, and I'll see you again on another rambling video. Take care.